Okay, here we are, 10 of Cheshvan. Did I get it right? I'm always on shaky ground when I look at the date. Okay. 10 Cheshvan. Very short. The Alter Rebbe used to refer to Atzilus as oiben, above. Above. They say that because of his intense emotion, that when writing the word, he could go no farther than the first few letters. Atzi. He just couldn't contain himself. Okay. When you're feeling it, it overtakes you. Lessons in Tanya. Continuing our story of godliness invested in the klipas, the light in the darkness. Bottom of page 148 in this version of Lessons in Tanya. And Nikuti Morim. Very bottom of the page, 288. Okay. The skinny on what we've said so far. First of all, nothing can exist without a spark of God within it. Even the worst evil of evil. Because it exists. Just the mere fact that it exists. And the name of God himself is Yud Haveh. That little spark, the Yud, which Haveh, which brings everything into being. So everything has a spark in it. Now, some sparks are not like other sparks. Some sparks reveal more of their holiness than others. And particularly we're speaking about the sparks that are invested in the Torah. The Torah achas l'kulanu, it says there's one Torah for everyone, which is the simple meaning. There's only one Torah. But this Torah comes from achas. It comes from achas, which is feminine, which is the malchus of Atzilus. That's the proximate source of Torah. But of course, its origin, the origin of the origin, is much, much higher in the Ratzon of Hashem. So Ratzon Hashem gives rise to Chochmah. Chochmah gets invested in Malchus. Malchus is the oral Torah, and its oral Torah descends further. The written Torah descends to the oral Torah. The oral Torah rolls out in Mishnah, Beraisis, Achareinim, Rishonim, and Shulchan Aruch, all of which includes that holy spark. But as it comes down, it gets vested in more and more darkness, to the point that it gets invested in the klipas. And when it's invested in the really unclean klipas, it's called Shechina Begaluta, the divine presence, the spark of God itself in a state of exile. And when a person learns Torah, what happens is, the process is called Birur Hilchasa, rectification of the halacha, meaning clarification of the halacha, breaking the shell of the darkness which is enclothing the spark and releasing it. That's Birur Hilchasa. And then we have the rectification and the breaking of the klipas that we do with our action in deed, in Maisa. Now, this process that we are engaged in, we have been gifted this process, the process of struggling with the klipas to reveal the light which is in them, because we've learned before that the sparks which are invested in the klipas have fallen, so to speak. That's the metaphor nefila. It's one of the expressions we came across a lot during the Sukkot. That Hashem will raise the Sukkahs David HaNefeles, that Hashem will raise the Sukkah of David HaMelech, which has fallen down. And that falling is a result of a process called Shviros HaKelim, the breaking of the vessels. So these sparks that are invested in this world below, which fell so low, come from a world which precedes meaning not in time, because there is no time, from a deeper world, a deeper place in God's consciousness, in the whole world of Tika. And we have been blessed with the ability to confront the darkness. And for this reason, I think we can start. V'hine, now I'm on the page. For this reason, v'hine elyonim, the creatures in the upper worlds, ein behem koyach levara. They don't have the power to do this clarification, this rectification, because their world is not a world of deep, thick klipas. And they don't have to, right? And the higher the elyonim, the less klipa, right? So the lower the world, the more strength has to be invested in it to break the klipa. And that's on the principle that the lower it falls, the higher its source. And so down here where the klippas are thick, there's also a corresponding power, ability, and in fact, this is where the commandments are, to break the klippas. They don't have that opportunity. To alis, to elevate these klippas, tapafesh kufmem has to elevate these klippas, mehashvira, from the broken state that they're in, shebe klippas noiga, as they've fallen down into klippas noiga. Ela hatachtoinu levad, it's us, we, the lowest of the low, right? The lowest of the low, the servants of the servants of the servants, right? Because the upper ones are servants of Hashem, and it's a whole chain of servitude, but we are the bottom of the heap, and in the bottom is invested the top. And we have been given this big gift. Because we, literally he says they, he's talking about the lower ones down here below, are enclosed in a coarse body, which the Zohar calls mishke de chivya, the skin of a snake, miklipas noiga, which comes from klipas noiga, the klippa which is capable of being broken and shining the light which is hidden within it. Vehem matishim koicha, and they, meaning us, meaning those souls which are down to tachtoinim, they, the lowers, they matishim koicha, they weaken the power of the klippas, b'shviras hatayvus, through ordinary things that are not so ordinary. Meaning, he says, breaking one's taivas, taking the lust that one has for something and using it out instead of self-indulgence for serving Hashem. Lust has power, right? The pleasure principle. You do things that are pleasurable. Pleasure, behind pleasure is a lot of tainug, delight. And we have the opportunity with our bechira to make the choice where to invest all that power. And that's what we do, b'shviras hataivas, when we break the taivas, so that the taivas are not for things which are darkening even more, but for crashing through the darkening forces in order to reveal the light, which is through shviras hataivas, breaking the taivas, v'hiskafia sitra akra, and subjugating the negative, the negativity. And when that happens, the pasuk tells us in Tillim, then there is scattered, all the effects of iniquity are scattered. When we utilize our power to break through the mishka dekivya, to shed the skin of the snake. That's the language of the Zohar. The klippas are called the skin of the snake, and the snake does every so often sheds its skin, and shedding its skin is a mashal in the Zohar for leaving the klippa behind, moving to the next level, which has its own challenges, and then leaving those behind. But we don't just leave them behind. We subjugate them so that they're not bothersome, and more so, we transform them so that the spark which is within them that fell from Olam HaTohu, that huge power, is released. Zoom user has a comment or a question.
Hello. I just have to stop at these words. The Aspardu Kopo Ale Oven.
Yeah. Go ahead. Why?
Because it seemed to me that we could learn into this Tanya that our actions, wherever we may be, our mitzvah actions cause the Poalei oven. Poalei oven means the Rishaim who are
Right,
doing
right.
evil deeds too.
You got it. No, you're right. I get you. It's very present day news, right?
That's what I
Every
wanted to say.
That's what you
Present day
wanted to
news.
say. That's what you wanted to say. And that's beautiful. Thank you. That every act that we do of subjugating the klipas in whatever, that we get up in the morning early to learn instead of laying in bed, and 100 other things we do, 1,000 things we do every moment. When we do that, that's Yisparadu Kol Poile Oven. That shatters or scatters, really is the right word, all the effectors of evil. So, yeah, that's today's news, that we have an effect. We count on what's going on over there and everywhere. Thank you.
It also occurred to me that what we do also affects like people in Africa, you
Yeah,
know.
that's what we're saying. It affects everywhere. Yes. Over there and everywhere. Over there, I mean, there it's Israel, and
And
everywhere, yeah, the
even
entire
even if
world.
they have no direct connection to the Jews.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You got it. And because of this wondrous effect that you guys are bringing forth and you know elaborating upon, which gives more meat on the bone, so to speak, which itself is a strange analogy. More substance. Did you know this? The dwellers in the upper worlds, the angels, and higher even, they come and give their ear. They come and listen to Chedushi Torah, to the insights, the novel insights in Torah that's done down here by us, the Tachtoinim. That which in our, remember, the topic here is Torah study. I mean, not when the arena here is Torah study more than the arena here is mitzvahs. But the same thing's true with mitzvahs. But we're speaking here about Torah study, how the Torah gets enclosed in the casement as it comes down and gets released. Zoom user, could you mute yourself, please? Raisa, just mute yourself. Thank you. Yeah. So they come down and listen to the chidushim, the new interpretations, and the revelations that had been until it was brought forth by some Talmud, somebody studying, as we do. You know, we learn something and we get a take on it, and that take may not have ever been taken before, or maybe something new, at least novel to us. So when those things are revealed, these things are happening specifically down here. And so the dwellers on high, the supernal ones, the Elyonim, they come and they listen to this. Shehoy kavushim begoila, to this spark, which until it had been released by the study of Torah and the discussion of Torah down here below, had been captured in the exile, ad ato, until now. And every Jewish person is able to reveal the hidden dimensions of the Chokhmah. Right? In fact, the Rebbe told us in the later days that not only are we able to, we're obligated to. That each and every one of us has an obligation to Megala Chidushim, to reveal new things that have not yet been brought forth from the Torah. Since the Torah is infinite, there's an infinite opportunity here. To legalos, to reveal, ulechadesh, and to make new, bring it out in a novel way, sechel chodesh, some kind of new understanding, hen behalachas, whether it be in the halachas, hen beagados, or in the agadata, the stories from the Torah, hen benigla, whether it's in the revealed part of the Torah, or hen benister, or whether it's in Kabbalah and Chassidus. Each one of us has that capability, and then utilizing what the Rebbe said, the obligation, each one according to the root of our soul. Oh, I didn't pick this up before. The Alter Rebbe says this. I thought it was originated truthfully from the Rebbe. And a person is obligated in this, in order to complete each of our souls, to complete your soul, meaning the mission of your soul and the wholeness of your soul, one is able to and obligated to find new perspectives on what's written in the Torah, or what's previously been explained in the Torah.
Can I pause you for 1 second about this? I've been reading the biography series, by Rabbi Afton. He wrote the biography series on the Rebbeim.
Yeah.
And it mentions that like they had this thing where if you're not a Rebbe, you're not allowed to say Hasidus back then.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what? How does that go with Mechuyav Kol Ish Yisrael to find chidushim?
Well, first of all, it was back then, and secondly, it was back then. But
yeah.
even but hold on. But even back then, certain Hasidim were given permission to say Hasidus by the Rebbe. Rabbi Yitzchak Hameler, for instance, was one of them. He wrote Hasidus. Others as well, just not coming to mind, but there are many others who were given permission. This, yeah, you're right, gives permission and obligation to everyone. So I don't know how to really take that one had to be given permission. And apparently here we're saying, and the Rebbe has said this clearly, that everyone has the obligation. I'm not sure.
Is just, I don't know, because I didn't read the book, so I don't know the context. It would seem that when I learned this now with you, I was learning a Chiddush Torah means new for you. For instance, they just came out with this sefer called V'yadata Masva not so long ago. Maybe Rabbi Ziegler came out with this. And what he did is that he took this Maimer V'yadata, which it's not a Chiddush. The Maimer has been around, I don't know, for a very long time, maybe at least 100. But he made it into a 30-day growth program. A 30-day program.
That's more than a Kiddush for him. That becomes something that everyone can use.
Right. But what I'm saying is, he's not saying new Hasidus. He's taking Hasidus and making a Chiddush in a different way. And how do we apply it to our lives?
That's exactly what the Rebbe is saying here. The stuff on the page is not new.
Yeah.
All the Gemaras, etc., not new. But you're finding an angle in it, something in it, an insight in it, a facet of it that has never been revealed. It doesn't mean just for you. It means, for instance, in our conversations here today, you said something which led an angle, just started that whole angle about, that what little thing we do here has an influence all over the world, and Elishever grabbed onto that. That's something that pertains to all of us. It isn't so. It isn't. You'll do it according to the root of your neshama. In other words, you'll discover the things that your neshama is designed to discover. But when you discover them and they become chidushi Torah, they're now part of Torah and available to everybody, not just for you.
So perhaps, I don't know, because I don't know the context, but perhaps what it was saying was that the Rebbes should be saying, like, imagine there was a time when Tanya was just being written down and everybody would want to say Hasidus. No, the Rebbe gives you Tanya. That any Chassid could find a chidushim in. What they did not want, even higher level Talmidei Chachamim doing in that time, is kind of doing like coming out with Hasidus, not Hasidus as I'm learning Hasidus and I'm applying it, but rather coming out with Hasidus. But that's why the whole reason that Tanya was written, like one of the reasons in the introduction, he says that.
Okay, I hear you. You're making a diak, and this could make sense. That not everybody says, meaning originates Hasidus, right? The Rebbeim did give permission, as I said, to Yitzchak Hameler and others to say Hasidus. When in fact, I'll go with that, because when the Rebbe was in the state of pre-Rebbe, when he was called the Menachem Mendel Ramash, the Rebbe Menachem Mendel Schneerson, he said before he was Rebbe and before the transition, he said sichos, meaning he explained things in Torah, but what they wanted him to do, it was just exactly in your words. They would say to him, say Hasidus, say Hasidus. Because when you quote, say Hasidus, then you are Rebbe. So only the Rebbeim, I think this is a good answer, said Hasidus. Some gave permission to others to say Hasidus because they recognized they were on those levels, but everyone else can find a chidush in the Hasidus that the Rebbe has said and apply that chidush to himself, and it can be a chidush that applies to everybody. That makes sense to me.
And I guess, yeah, that does make sense. But I guess what we're lacking then is the definition of what it means to say Hasidus versus to find Shurim.
Right. To say Hasidus is to say Hasidus is to originate, right? Like Hashem, he originated the whole creation via Daber, he spoke, right? That's saying Hasidus. And then now that the Hasidus is out there, like we're learning Hasidus that the Alter Rebbe said right here on this page, right? And we're discussing Chidushim, angles in it that may not have been discussed before or may not have been brought to our attention before. That's not saying Hasidus. That's digging into Hasidus to find new interpretations. We're right, and that's what we're doing here. Everyone, according to the neshama, is mechuyev in this thing, Vidover. And what was the thing? To megala, to reveal new facets in the Hasidus that hadn't been revealed before. The hashlim nishmosoi, to complete, to fulfill their souls. Ba'alos kol hanetzoitzes. And what are we doing? That was a very good discussion. Thank you. And what are we doing when we do this? Since these sparks had been hidden so far, so we're revealing and elevating them. They can bubble up from the darkness. The fire can raise itself up. Kol hanetzoitzes, all the sparks. Shenaflu lechalka, which have fallen into that part of the world which is your part of the world. And we have fallen to your portion and to your lot. Lot here is an allusion to the goyrel, which is lamayla min atam, higher than reason. Portion, you've been allocated a portion, like in a will, right? You get this, and he gets that, and she gets that. The goyrel is something that happens from a lottery. Right? This is the whole discussion of Purim. Why Purim is such a high event, because it happens from the goyrel, from that which is higher than seichel. So things have come to you which have been designated for you, and things are coming to you from that level of Hashem, which is just, for whatever reason, it falls to you to do it. And what's to do? To elevate the sparks. Kinoi, there's no. The Kol Divrei Torah, in all the words of Torah, B'prat Dover Halacha, and specifically some facet in Halacha, He nitzutz mehashchina. You should know that every facet, a new angle, he's talking here about Halacha, and we've been speaking about Hasidus, every new angle that one brings forth, I often think of it really as a facet, like the Torah itself that we have, that's Megala that's in front of us, is a gem, it's a jewel. But you can always cut another facet in that jewel. And when you do that, there's a new light that shines from the jewel. So a new spark goes out, mehashchina, from the divine presence, which has been indwelling and hidden till then in that Devar Hashem, in the speech of Hashem. Kediyis v'Gemara, as is brought in the Gemara, it says, Devar Hashem zu halacha. The speech of Hashem, what is God speak? God speaks the halacha, how the worlds go, halicha, which is the soid malchus of Atzilus. It's the secret of malchus of Atzilus. Malchus of Atzilus is the mouth, remember? Malchus peh, malchus is the mouth. Torah, this is the Zohar. Malchus peh, Torah shebal peh kurinin lo, it's called in my mouth. Hamalbeshes lachochma Atzilus, in which is enclosed the chochma of Atzilus. Malubashim v'malchus the Atzira, and that malchus of Atzilus in which is invested the chokmah of Atzilus invests itself and clothes itself in malchus of Yetzira on the way down. Biyodu b'klipas noiga, and descends even into klipas noiga, b'shviras hakelim, through the brokenness of the vessels. And this is what it says in the Gemara. The Gemara says, Kol ha'osek b'Torah, anyone who digs in and occupies, makes it business to be Torah. I'm emphasizing that's the word oisek, not just studying, but oisek, digs in, as we are digging in this morning. Anyone who oisek b'Torah, on that person who digs into the Torah, Amar HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the Holy One, blessed be He, says, Maila ani alov, I account it to him, Ki'ilu paldeni ve'es beni meben umes oide gegulas. When anyone who digs himself into Torah, the Holy One says about him, I account it as if, Ki'ilu, as if he's redeeming me and my child from amongst, and my children, or beni, my child, from amongst all the nations of the world. Which gets to the point that you read. One person, oisek b'Torah, and how much more so we learned in here the power of a group, a tzibor, the power of 10, etc. Digging into Torah redeems Hashem, redeems the Shekhinah. What is redeeming the Shekhinah? This is taking the Shekhinah out of Galus and bringing the Geula not only to the individual, but to all the nations of the world. And that's what you guys anticipated, actually, earlier in the conversation, right? Beautiful, I think. Anybody got anything to say?
It seems to me that like what we do, we start our day with embracing the real reality, because there is a reality that bombards us on all sides, but I never thought of it this way. Like, I thought of it more as a personal struggle that kind of like, how am I going to uplift myself, and how am I going to be able to be my own better person, like whether it's better tefillah, or whether it's mitzvos done better, or whether it's better choices. There's a lot about my own self.
Right. But here it transcends yourself. Not only transcends yourself, but has influence, reverberating influence all through not only this world, but all the worlds. It all rises up. You're contributing each little thing, big impact on bringing Hashem out of Galus.
This is huge. Yes. This is huge.
Yeah, exactly. So, okay, let's leave it. Let's leave there. It's such a high note. It's charging me up to go walk differently today. God willing, it'll stay with me and with you until we meet again tomorrow. Shkoyach.
Thank you.